After Wednesday's game, you mentioned how some things needed to be cleaned up. What were those things?
We played hard and we played pretty good. You look at it, even, sometimes you go back, sometimes this is where analytics can help too. When you win, you have a chance sometimes to like your team too much. When you lose, you have a chance to not like your team enough. The more I've coached, I always try to put the outcome out of my mind and watch video with a fresh perspective and an open mind to how we played, not what the outcome was. We did a lot of good things in the first 30 minutes of that game. We easily could have been up 2-0. We missed a couple breakaways. Their kid made a couple great saves. And then they came down the ice and scored on a 3-on-2, and now you're down 2-0. So I thought that the only difference in that game, we played hard. They played like their season was on the line. And there's a different level of physical commitment when you play like your season's on the line. So I thought they had 10%. We weren't horrible. I thought they had a 10% more bite and jam in their game. And a lot of times in a contact sport, that's the difference.
Wednesday is about when facing the 5-on-3. The first group that's out there is Ciccone, Davies, and Kozak. You always talk about how Kozak has earned your trust, but how does he handle that pressure in those types of situations?
Well, and that's part of development too, is we need to, I can't just go to, I know those two were in the lineup that night, but I can't just go to Malone and Mersch, and every single moment in every situation, even though you want to as a coach, because you trust guys like that so much. But part of development is putting our young players in uncomfortable situations. Sometimes they fail in those, and that's okay. That's how you get better. We need to put Rosine and Kulik and Kozak and Cedarquist and Kisakov and some of our young prospects, just like we have with Quinn and Paterka and Byro and Weisbach over the Rusek, in difficult positions, in pressure-packed moments, defensively and offensively, to see how they handle them and to allow that growth. That is gonna, if Kozak is an NHL player, and we believe he can be, it's gonna be as a center that is great defensively, that wins faceoffs, that's hard to play against, and is that a really good penalty killer. So how do we develop that? We put him in those situations here.
Yeah, Mersch and Malone, are either of them back tomorrow?
Mersch will be back tonight. His wife Jenna and their little new baby boy Mason are doing great. He was here yesterday, skated yesterday, and it'll be great to have the captain back in our lineup tonight. Comrie will play again tonight. Obviously, not back-to-back games, so he got a little bit of rest in there. He's tracking and trending really well to get back with the Sabres, so he will play again tonight.
Back in once this season, what do you remember about that game or about that team?
I don't remember anything about that game. We were awful. We got into a hotel at like 3:50 in the morning, the Toronto game you looked at as a potential game you're set up to fail, and we found a way to win it. This one was a game we were set up to fail, and we were awful. I didn't even watch the game tape. That's some games in a year you're going to learn nothing from the video. We had nothing in the tank that night. We were terrible. That's not going to tell me anything about their team or our team. So, but I watched them on pre-scout, and they're big, they're heavy, they're older. They have a lot of talent. Their forward group is really talented, and even more talented now that they got Bobby Brink, who's just coming back from injury. So they're going to pose a lot of weapons and a lot of threat to us tonight. Yeah, Rosine and Kulik, really proud of both of them. What tournaments they had. Isak had 6 points, really had 7 because he got a goal that he didn't get credit for. So he really had 7.7 games. He was +7. Kulik had 7 goals in 7 games, had 9 points, and was +10. The plus minus, and I know that's a stat that's a little out of vogue in today's game, but still an important stat that your team is that strongly in favor of you in terms of goals when you're on the ice. And those two had to play against everybody else's best players because they played in the first line. So they're playing against the best players in the world. And they are still helping drive their line. So I know Rosie will be disappointed to not have got that medal because they played a heck of a game yesterday. And Kulik was exceptional for the Czech and came within inches of winning him a gold medal. But I think when he's able to step back and look at it from a broader perspective, helping them earn their first silver medal in 2 decades is going to be a pretty special moment for them.
Take away from what they just did over the last 2 weeks?
Well, number one, anytime you play for the country, I love coaching Rochester. I love being part of the Buffalo Sabres organization, but coaching and playing for your country is exceptionally special. And to do it as well as they both did, they can gain a lot of pride and confidence. I think that they have a lot of confidence that what they're doing here and how they're rounding their game out here in Rochester is working. And they got to see that firsthand against their own age group. They'll both be back sometime later today, but I don't anticipate them playing this weekend. It's emotionally taxing tournament. It's physically taxing. They played 7 games in 11 days. They both were playing first line minutes. And then it's also emotionally taxing. It's a very emotionally charged tournament. It's high stress. And they're going to be wiped. So we're going to have to be smart about how we bring them back in and making sure they're energetic and ready to go and ready to keep getting better here.
I'm kind of like you. I don't remember much about that Lehigh Valley game, but one thing I do remember is that Anisimov had just signed a PTO, and since he signed the contract, he pretty well dominated that game. So you kind of got a key on him.
Yeah, he was dynamite, and he looks dynamite on video. I mean, there's a reason he's played so many games in the National Hockey League. He's talented, he's big, he's strong, he looks motivated to be there. Doesn't look like he's just, kind of just playing on his skill because he's an older player. He looks motivated to try to get back to the National Hockey League. I think his game looks very, very good right now. He's gonna be a guy we have to take care of.
Excel back.
Yeah, well, and like I said, Brink. I mean, Brink's supposed to be in the NHL. Obviously, had hip surgery, so he's just coming back from that. But that's a really dangerous offensive dynamic player. They got a heck of a team. Their lineup is really good. I don't care where they are in the standings. When I look at that team, I look at a really, really good hockey team.
We pretty much already knew how tough this division is, but the game the other day kind of really emphasizes just how close this division is. There's just no cakewalks at all.
Yeah, I mean, the division's so hard. I mean, it was last year too. And I've said this last year, and I do believe it's so good for our young prospects to be in the North Division. The physical toll that the games have, the physical commitment you need to be successful every night. Belleville and Cleveland and Syracuse and Utica and on and on and on, and how hard the games are and how physically demanding the games are. It just really, I think it accelerates the growth of the prospects because they have to raise their physical commitment to being a winning hockey player. Otherwise, they're not going to have success in this division.
Mike, I'm assuming that's what we're at.
Mike? You're up, Mike. It's all you. Duffer? Anything from you? Can't hide the whole time, Duffer.
I'm just here to say hello.
Hi, Duffer. I miss you, buddy. Where you been?
Snowed in.
We've had a lot of games on the same days as the Sabres,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. But I've been watching. No worries there.
It is great to see you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, buddy. Mike, how we doing, Mike?
Hey, sorry there, Seth. I was caught up with a bunch of things. I don't know if you saw it. We've been tied in with the Bills. Damar Hamlin spoke to his teammates today.
Oh, I did not see that. No,
Yeah, he got the ventilator out and told him he loved them. So I guess that was quite a moment for all of those guys. I was thinking of something at this point of the year, and it's a new year with, different group. How well do you know this team now?
Yeah, this is about the time of year I think that you feel like as a coach that you really know your team. You know who you are. Collectively, you're starting to build that collective identity, but you also know the individuals. It takes time to build relationships and to build trust with each other. And I think that I've had enough opportunity now with our veteran players, but also with our new rookies to have forged relationships with all of them. So you can have the hard conversations sometimes necessary to help them grow as players.
So in that way, I think that could work two ways, right? I mean, in one way, you know them, they've given you enough time, especially a young player, to sort of maybe establish what they've been for you. I mean, do these young players realize that sometimes as you're trying to bring them along, that you're giving them a little time, like you said, you put them in a position to fail, and sometimes they do, but there's a moment where you got to show something, right?
Yeah, and I think that they all have had their moments. Let's talk the 5 rookie forwards.
Yeah.
They've all had moments of exceptional play. Some more consistent than others, but they all have had flashes of it, games of it, weeks of it, whatever that might be. I do believe that when I was at the national program, the U17 year, the first year, is really hard, and there's a lot of failure and a lot of adversity. The best ones, the Jack Hugheses, the Matty Beniers, the Jake Sandersons, those the elite ones, it's usually somewhere around December, January that they make a big jump. They stop playing like kids and they start playing like future NHL stars. And I thought we saw that with Jack. Jack Quinn had that first COVID years. That was an 18-game sample size. So it was about this time of year in terms of number of games. And JJ last year made a massive jump post-Christmas. I think pre-Christmas, Peterka was a talented, immature player that played on skill more than habits. And when he played on habits and skill in the second half of the year, he became a dominant player at this level. And so those are the things that we're looking to see from those 5 rookie forwards right now, is the blend their skill and their playmaking and their creativity with the habits that we've been trying to get to have in their game so they can consistently be elite players at this level.
And one last thing to that, what's that moment like with you and the other coaches, maybe when you see that? Is that like you're sitting around watching tape? Is it at practice? It depend where you go, he's getting it?
Yeah, that's why I coach. Really, that's my favorite thing about coaching, is when you see your players have the light bulb moment, and all of a sudden that their game jumps. And with every player, it's a little different. Sometimes you see it in games. A lot of times you see it in practice. As a coach, you can feel in practice that a player is about to take off. Because all of a sudden their practice habits become so exceptional, and they're invested every day in trying to be a great player, even though it's just a practice day. So those are usually, I'd say I generally see it more in practice than I would in games. You see it first in practice, and then eventually it translates into games.
Great, thanks. So looking forward to tonight.
Thanks, Mike.
I'm going to follow up with how you had any of those moments yet this year.
With the young guys, those moments, yeah. I think that you're seeing those moments right now with Cedarquist, that his game seems to be growing by the week right now, and that's been really exciting. I think we've had those moments with Kulik and Rosian already, in terms of them not just wanting to be players that score on line rushes. They're players that are checking and back checking and hunting pucks. And now it's about, do we do it every night? Do we do it every night? Because that's what you need to be great. It can't be one night great, next night just okay. It's 9 out of 10. You got to be driving us winning with your habits, because your skill, some nights it's just not, the puck's not going to go your way. But your habits and your competitiveness can be there every night, and that's when the game really jumps.